going into this into the series, or there was a lot of positivity where you kind of felt like surely he wants to rip into them because they've been shit that game. He's literally saying you've been really shit, and then he's going, well, come on guys, we can be more positive. It's up to us. And you think, okay, is that really what you want to say? Or is it just because you know that there are cameras there? So
that and someone like it's like Mourinho. I don't think you wouldn't catch Mourinho going, come on guys, let's do this. Clapping them and tapping them on the back, and that. You kind of think maybe they shield some stuff, and I think the Sunderland one is a bit different. I think I only watched one episode of the Sunderland one because my local team run it. So that's it. But yeah, it will be interesting to see how they portray the squad and the reactions. It'll be the Pochettino second. I'll be interested in to see, because hopefully we get to see the players' reactions and stuff like that, because that's stuff that you don't get to see on an average day.
Yeah, I mean, this is something we were discussing the other day, and some of the lads on the podcast seem to think that it's actually that we don't really see much of Pochettino. Like, the series kind of starts with him going and Mourinho coming in, and there's definitely a clip. There's definitely a clip that got released that shouldn't have been released, where Mourinho is talking to the players about their mentality and stuff like that, and not being too nice on the pitch. He said that we're too nice on the pitch, and Eriksen is still in the video. So this is obviously pre-Christmas. So it's definitely. I mean, they've definitely released enough kind of little teasers to try and pique people's interest, and certainly from a Spurs fan perspective, where we haven't had the best of seasons, people may think, well, I don't actually want to watch that, but they've tried to make it interesting. We've got a bit of Dele and Dyer action going on as well, so we haven't had near Dele Dyer action for a few years, so it's all good. I think all good. So I think I'll be watching that for sure.
I'll definitely be the same, yeah.
So from season's over, and we allegedly still hasn't been tied up yet by the sounds of it, but allegedly we're signing Højbjerg or Højbjerg or however it's pronounced. I saw somewhere today that it's pronounced Højbjerg, so I'm going to try Højbjerg.
Yeah.
So we're signing him from Southampton, which I don't think he's to be sniffed at. I think he's in there to do a role, and if he's a round peg in a round hole, I'll be happy with that. So are there any players that you would like to see brought into the club at all? Is there any? Are you one of those people that kind of follows this with a good interest and knows who you think would do a good job?
Yeah, I'm probably the same as you are. I'm a fan of the Højbjerg coming in. I think he won't be a glamorous player, and like a lot of people are saying, he'll be sitting behind Lo Celso and Ndombele, hopefully, if he stays, which I want him to. So he'll 15 million, which is seen, I think, is the reported price, which I think is that's in terms of Premier League prices these days. I think 15 million's great for someone in the Premier League, and has got 4 years of experience. In terms of potential signings, I'm a fan of the ones that have already been reported to be. So you have Callum Wilson. I think at 10-15 million, he's an absolute snip. He's proven. He had a rough start in the Premier League a few years back, but the past 2 seasons he's just kicked on, and he's obviously got his England caps and that. So I think he'll be a great addition, whether it's alongside Kane or if Kane's injured, then up front on his own. And he's actually from my home city, so
okay. Is he?
Yeah, he came through the Coventry City Academy, played for us, and then went from there to Bournemouth. So I'm a fan of him as a person in general. So that's probably why I'm a bit more for him than other Spurs fans. But probably
no. I think he's getting people are. There are quite a few people that have said that they wouldn't mind him coming in, and they feel that he could do a job. So it's not all bad, apparently, not all negative.
No, I think, and another one would be Max Aarons from Norwich. Is that
okay? Yeah.
The right back. So I think I don't see him being expensive, and I don't know. I haven't been on Twitter much there, so I don't know how far the Aurier deals got. But that's looking a bit of a he's potentially going AC Milan, ain't he? So it's kind of whoever we get in, whoever goes out, I think we kind of have to replace him straight away. And there is obviously some obvious places in the squad that need some seeing to. I think the back line being probably the more obvious of the others. But yeah, that's what do you think in terms of transfers?
Well, no, I'm with you with Højbjerg. I'm not entirely sold on Aarons, to be honest. I think, if we're gonna get Aarons, then we might as well have just kept Walker Peters. I think they're, in terms of probably what they're going to offer, I think they're similar. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure on that. I'm not one of we need a backup striker, so Wilson would be fine. But I kind of happy just to go along with what happens. If we can if we can strengthen in the right areas, and it's the players that Mourinho wants, and therefore are a fit for him in what he sees in his system, then that suits me, because he's meant to be one of the best in the world at what he does.
Exactly.
And I think we're long overdue a trophy. So I'm happy to go with what he manages to squeeze out of Levy and the board.
What do you think of the Troy Deeney rumours? So would you be open for him coming in, or would you be against that?
Again, he's the kind of person that would works hard. So if you look at some of the stuff that Højbjerg, they've been playing interviews of Højbjerg today, where there was an interview. I don't know if it must have been BBC or something, and obviously Southampton had played, and I don't know if they ended up losing the game or if they drew the game, but it was a game they probably felt that they should win or needed to win, but they were 2-0 up and threw it away. So they either drew or they lost, and they said, well, what happened? And he said, well, it's not good enough, blah blah blah, and everyone's going on about his mentality and that, how he obviously says it as it is, and he's going to bring that kind of leadership into the squad. And I think that Deeney may be limited ability, but I think that he's the kind of person that would also bring that kind of mentality to the squad of really working for each other and working for the fans, and really playing his heart out, and putting himself about. Obviously, if we're going to go for that type of player, there's been talk that if we're going to go for that type of player, we should look at someone like Mitrovic, who is a younger version, and is scoring goals as well. That was obviously before he got promoted, so chances of trying to get him now might be a little bit less. And I'd say so. And there was talk about the guy from Brentford. I can't remember his name now. The striker that was for.
Was it Ollie Watkins?
That's him.
Is it him?
Yeah, that's the guy. So
he's actually obviously. I saw something where he's got an I think it's 18 million release clause.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously he'd be a different type of player, and ultimately, although they're not the same, I see Deeney and Mitrovic, that type of player, as more, a target man type in the mould of not of Kane, but a big number 9. Whereas I think you want that bit of variety, where you want someone small and quick, very quick to change the performance. So anyway, but primarily, I think we need to try and get our business done early, and and see what it brings. So
definitely,
okay. So anyway, obviously, I didn't really actually get you on the show to talk about Spurs season and various other bits and pieces like that. So you are the subject of our fans in focus this week, and we brought you on as a blind football fan. So just start off with, just give us a bit of background about yourself, how old you are, how long you've been blind for, and just some background.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm 20 years old. I turned 20 earlier in a year. Unfortunately, I had to spend it in lockdown, which was depressing. But I've been blind for probably say like I lose track myself. That there isn't really there isn't really a point where I can just say, yeah, that's where I was last year. It was a gradual thing, and I was born with a condition which meant that my eyesight would deteriorate. How quickly we didn't know how quickly, but so through like a certain period from like say like the age of 6 to 13, that was like my most kind of rough part. I think I had about 13 operations, and in that space of time, I lost my right eye. So from like the age of 13 up until 17, 18, I was pretty much just relying on my left eye. And then 17, 18, I think it started to, that's when it started to go. I think I went to college at 17, and I realised then that I needed to be guided around the place, and that whereas say 2 years prior when I was in school, I could just walk around by myself and that. So and then literally within the space of 8 to 12 months, it pretty much went completely. So like, I'd say late 2018 is when it just went to pretty much darkness as it is now. So yeah,
so is it a full loss of sight, or have you got any kind of peripheral vision or anything at all?
It's full loss of sight now. Yeah, I think I can kind of see slight glows of maybe like digital screens if they're flicking on and off, but that not much use. So it's been one of the things, because I would say to a lot of people when I was 12, 13, I'd sit there and think, shit, going blind, it scared the hell out of me, which it probably would do with anyone. But I've come to now and I think, hang on a minute, this ain't that bad as I thought it would be. It might sound mad, like people are like, what do you mean being blind? It's horrendous kind of thing, and people have said that to me, but it's not, especially in the day and age that we're in now, the technology and that kind of stuff, it makes it quite a lot easier compared to say 10, 15 plus years ago. So it's not been too bad.
So does it help that it helps obviously that you you're young and embrace technology then, maybe? Because my mum has glaucoma, so she's lost a lot of her sight, fully no vision in her left eye, just and quite impaired in her right eye, but I doubt that she would like use any technology, really, she just refuses point blank a lot of stuff at the moment. So if she was having to rely on technology, I'm not sure what she would do.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, obviously, like you said, I think it's the fact that I'm obviously younger and I was born into the generation that, you had your consoles and smartphones. I think I embrace anything that I can see that would benefit me in any way, whether that's, domestically in and around my house or out and about. I'm always exploring it and seeing how good it actually is. And I think it literally all depends on what your needs are and your lifestyle. And I think there's plenty of technology out there that's for everyone. I'm sure I could probably tell a few things for your mum, and she'd probably give it a go and be like, that it might be a small